Welcome back. In this video, we are going to take care of our main character, our first person character, so to speak. And therefore, as you can see, I have gotten rid of the city that I built in the last couple of videos, and I'm just using the environment here, and that's the city. So just feel free to use your own city. Just make sure that the center of it is going to be at 0, 0, 0. Or otherwise, you can, of course, drag in our city, our environment that we prepared, but also make sure that its position is reset so that it's going to be perfectly in the center of the map. So here, this will be the center point, and from here we can then start with our main character and all of that. So first of all, let's go ahead and prepare our player. Therefore, under assets, you will find your character, and there in the prefabs folder, you will find your first person character. So let me drag that one in there. And you will find that this is what we get, our character. Now we of course need to find a way to make the camera position into the position of the first person player. Okay, so therefore what you also should make sure, just in case that you have different sizes, I played around with the sizes earlier, and this is something you have to do inside of your weapons, and here in the weapon prefab, just make sure that the scale is set to something around that. So here 0.011 for X, Y, and Z in terms of the scale. Okay, so now our first person player consists of, let's look at him, the FPS character as well as the arms that you see here. Okay, so the arms, they consist of the upper chest with the left shoulder, neck, and the right shoulder. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that this is going to be the view. So we're looking through the eyes of the player. Okay, we only are using his weapon and his arms. Therefore, let's go ahead and drag the main camera into our first person character, directly into the character. In case you get an error here and it doesn't work for you, what you can do is you can make sure that you unpack your prefab, unpack completely, and then you will be able to drag in your main camera. So in case this creates an error for you, that's how you could fix it. So just to make sure that it's going to work for all of you, I'm going to right click and unpack my first person player completely. And then I'm going to drag the main camera into the first person character like so. And that will work totally fine. So now if you look at the game, this is going to be the current view. So let's make sure that our first person player is at 0, 0, 0. Let's reset his position, and then let's put him up a little bit. So I'm going to use 1.5 for him. And now let's make sure that the camera itself is also at 0, 0, 0, because now it will be at 0, 0, 0 in comparison to our main character, like so. Okay, so now the camera is directly inside of the player, so to speak, but in my opinion, just a little too low. So let's tune those values a little bit. Therefore, I'm going to use the following values. So 0.35, this is something, and this is not for the city, but actually for the camera. 0.35, so now it's a little higher, which is already good. Then the Y position, I play around with it a little bit, and something around like 0.03 into the negative made it look a little more natural. So the weapon is on your right hand side and your head is a little further to the left. So that's how I envision it. And then the Z position is something like 0.05. So the camera is just a tiny bit further to the front and looks at the weapon just a little bit differently. So now you will see that you have clipping here, so that the player clipped our weapon. How can we fix that? Well, the cool thing is the main camera has a setting, and you will find it under projection. Okay, so here the main camera has a bunch of settings that you can set up, right? And the one that we're going to look at is going to be the projection one. And here the clipping planes, that's where you can change the values to get rid of clipping. So I'm going to use 0.01 here, and you will see that the clipping is gone, because now it's not going to clip our weapon anymore. And that basically fixes the issue. Okay, so if we run our game, we won't see much because, well, we cannot move now. We cannot play around and move the character and stuff like that. That's fine, because in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to first of all look at how we can make our character look towards the direction of our mouse. Okay, so our mouse will move around our view, and we will not move the character forward or backward or to the sides yet, but we will at least be able to move his view. So that's it for this video. Now your main character is ready. You can of course go ahead and make sure that you save your scene. That's always a good idea after each video. And we can now make sure that we are dragging our first person player into our prefabs folder. So you can get rid of your old one. That's fine. Let's get rid of it. And let's drag in the new one like so. And now let's save it. And this will now be our first person player that we can reuse anytime. And we also have it available physically. All right, so see you in the next video where we're going to look at mouse look.